Good evening. It's TVB, and I hope you guys had a lovely Thanksgiving. I saw Encanto tonight, which is the 60th animated Disney film. Oh my gosh. They like announced that like when I walked into this movie, and like they had the whole short film play with like the raccoons, and it's like, oh, here's the 60th animated feature from like Walt Disney Animation Studios. I'm like, wow, I assume that doesn't include Pixar films, but like that's just really crazy. 60 films in their whole canon. But anyway, Encanto follows Maribel, who lives in the mountains of Colombia with her family, and she's the only non-magical member of her family. Like her siblings, her cousins, her mother, her grandmother all have like magic, but she doesn't. And then she recently discovers that like her not being magic is what's gonna save the family from a potential collapse. So I walked into Encanto with very like positive expectations. I've been like a massive like animation and Disney geek for as long as I can remember, and talking about Disney and stuff like that has been and like animation's been a pretty big part of my channel ever since I started like reviewing movies in general. Like I remember 2016, like when I first started like making like movie reviews, I had a lot of fun reviewing Zootopia and Moana, and it's really great to see that Disney keeps like churning out classic after classic. Because guys, Encanto, you do not. I don't think this movie's on Disney Plus, so this is definitely a film worth seeing in theaters. Trust me, I say it. Like wait, 5 years ago. Oh my gosh, Moana is 5 years old now. That is crazy. I thought Disney's like animation peaked with Moana, with the ocean and the sand in that movie, and yet they top themselves again with Encanto. I feel like this is kind of redundant to say, but like the animation in this movie is flawless. It's ridiculously colorful. Everything's the attention to detail is so spot on, from like the leaves, the animals, the singing, the dancing, all the flowers. Like everything, it just looks fantastic, and the animation captures the story and the style of the setting. And Mirabel is probably one of the more unique Disney protagonists. First of all, she's the first Disney princess to have glasses. That's something that I remember people have been wanting to see like in a Disney film for like quite a few years now. It's like, hey, let's have a Disney princess that's not like, super, I guess, like ideally like what like a real woman's to look like. No, let's have like a female protagonist wear a pair of glasses, which isn't like a huge part of the movie. I noticed that like, oh, she wore glasses, and like it was the first Disney princess to have like a pair of glasses, but it wasn't like, hey, look at us, we're so like, this is virtue signaling. No, it didn't feel shoehorned. It felt organic and part of the story. I think it's very important that in a day and age where like I know I'm not the first person to say this, but I'll say it anyway. I think I agree with those who like claim this, like in a day and age with like Disney owning like Marvel and Star Wars and like all their films they've made with like these larger than life protagonists with like magic and superpowers and saving the world. It's really great to see a protagonist that's just like a normal kid surrounded by all these superhumans with like magic and stuff like that, and yet she's not. I think that's like a relatable character, because I think we've all, whether you're like, regardless of like where you grow up or like what community you're raised with or like what your demographics are like in your respective community, I think we all have felt like we're the only ones. You know what I'm saying? We're the underdog, we're the outcast, or like the rejects. Like, hey, everyone's done XYZ except you. I have certainly been there, and if you've been watching my videos, I think you have been as well. That, and I love the Colombian setting. I was kind of worried going into this movie that like this film was gonna be kind of like a knockoff Coco. I know Coco's a Pixar film. This is like a Disney film. Like Coco set in Mexico, while this is set in Colombia. I'm really glad that Disney is like broadening its cultural horizons by having like its first Latin American Disney princess, I believe. I will say this: the only like issue that I had with Encanto was the pacing. This is a very similar issue I had to Raya and the Last Dragon when that came out earlier this year. Like, that was a great movie as well, but like the pacing is very fast. This film is an hour and 39 minutes long, but the way the screenplay plays out and the way like the story is told, like the songs, the music, Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, oh, my king right there. Like, he did an excellent job with the soundtrack again. And the songs do push the story forward, but I think they push the story forward a little too quickly for its own good. Even I had like not the easiest time keeping up with like the characters and what was going on, and I can see children having somewhat of an issue with that as well. But all storytelling was very spot on. I loved the film's ending. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but again, I don't really have any like major complaints with the story or the characters. I just wish it dialed back just a little bit and slowed the pace down just a little bit. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, Encanto, I gotta say, like, this and Raya and the Last Dragon were two like superb Disney films. I will say this: there are like other Disney animated films that have come out within like the past like few years. I said like more like Zootopia and Moana, like not really topping that just yet. But guys, Encanto, definitely give us some a watch for this holiday season because I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 stars. It's an awesome film. If you could pick the setting for the next like animated Disney film and its time period, what would you where do you want to see the next Disney film be set in? I honestly would love to see a Baltic Disney princess. That's my mom's heritage, my heritage, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, because there's like Lithuania was the last country in Europe to be Christianized, and they worship all kinds of like pagan deities before like the Crusades and stuff like that. I would love to see like a Disney film about like the Baltic pagan gods. That's just like me coming out of my heritage. But let me know in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up, like please, and follow me on Instagram. His links are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had a lovely Thanksgiving, and it's Black Friday, so stay alive. All right, stay beastly.